Thank you. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here for this meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Carmel. Before we get started, as always, we're going to have the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. So would everybody please rise? And Councilman Lupinacci, would you lead us tonight?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, John. Okay, once again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's Town Board meeting is a work session, and the date is Wednesday, November 14th, 2018. At 6 p.m., the board met an executive session with Joe Charbonneau, he's special counsel for the Town of Carmel, to discuss a litigation update. Rich Franzetti, the town engineer, met with the board to discuss fiscal year 2019 personnel item. Glenn Drosy, the town assessor, met with the board to discuss certiorari litigation updates. For the record, Councilman Schneider is not with us at the moment, but he will be joining the board shortly. He has a business obligation that he's tending to, but he will be joining us at some point during the meeting. All the other town board members are present, as is Greg Fulchetti, our Carmel Town Council, all the way down to my left. Mary Ann Maxwell, the town controller, is here. She has some items on the agenda tonight. And Jim Gilchrist, our recreation director, is also here as well. Rich Franzetti, the town engineer, is over in the planning meeting, but he will be joining us as his items come up on the agenda. So the first item on the agenda is a review of the town board minutes of October 24th, 2018. Unless any town board members would like to comment on the minutes, we're going to move on. Good. So the first item on the agenda, Mike Carnazza, Building and Codes Enforcer, is to consider a request to refund a permit fee that had been collected previously for tax map number 76.8-1-1. And I have a letter here from Mike Carnazza regarding the return of the permit fee. This is for a gas hookup at the Reing Residence, 125 McLaughlin Drive in Mahopac. Please be advised that a building permit was charged to Mr. Reing for permit 18-0922 to install a generator, install gas, and certificate of compliance for $258.66. 1 month later, the owner applied for and was issued a permit 18-1072 to install gas to the generator for $50. So the property owner is requesting a return of the $50 fee because he paid it already in the original permit fee that was paid. The gas was included in that. So he double paid on the gas for the generator. So the building inspector is requesting that the $50 be returned to the property owner. It was a duplicate for the connection fee. Any questions or comments on this one? Nope. Okay, so he overpaid. We're returning him his application fee. Okay, next item on the agenda, Jim Gilchrist, Director of Parks and Recreation. Jim, welcome. This consider request to authorize purchase and installation of a motor on a Town of Carmel recreation truck. It's a 2009 Ford F-350 with a Fisher plow and a sanding body that's used for various activities at the Recreation Department. And the motor, the main component of the motor failed, and it needs a new motor. So, Jim?
Sure. Yeah, this truck, this is our white dump truck that we use over in the Parks Department. We've had a number of engine and mechanical issues over the last couple of years with the truck, and we were actually considering trading it in at some point. That was a recommendation of our town mechanic. His recommendation came, I think it was last May. During the late part of the summer, early fall, we had the engine started knocking, so the driver pulled over on Route 6, called me. We left the truck. I came with a tow truck, and we towed it over the highway. They checked the truck. They thought that they could fix it. They also brought it over to Wally's next door and had them take a look at it. And after they opened up the top of the engine, based on the damage that they saw, they recommended putting a new engine in. At that point, Supervisor Schmidt said, let's put the brakes on this. Let's find out what the truck is worth if we sell it on an auction site and look at purchasing another used dump truck. We looked probably for about a month and a half
Yeah.
on different sites. the highway mechanics went up to Connecticut, to a couple of yards that sell a lot of different trucks, and there was nothing that was in our budget. And after seeing what was out there, they recommended putting a new engine in the truck. They said it makes the most economical sense. So you can see what the costs were for the new engine minus the core and skid charges. It's $10,735, and to have it installed, it's just shy of $3,000. So I'm looking for authorization to get this completed.
Yeah, Jim, I spoke to the mechanic,
Yep.
and I spoke to Wally. The truck itself, the rest of the truck, the drivetrain, the transfer case, the rear end, everything is good. Everything's
Body's in good
fine on
shape,
it.
yep.
The body's in good shape. It's got a $4,000 Fisher plow on it. The dump body works fine. So the cost of a new truck, that same truck, if you were to buy that new, is 60 plus.
60,000.
Probably 60, Mike, 60, 65,000 to replace that. So because the rest of the truck's in good shape and it has 58,000 miles on it, so it doesn't have high mileage, I think it makes sense to replace the motor.
And where the
And
engine is coming from,
I-
it's a good company. I actually used Jasper
Jasper?
on one of my trucks a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I actually contacted Mayapack Ford. I talked to the salesperson, also the service people. I gave them the numbers that Jasper quoted us on. They said they're right on.
Yeah, you can't beat Jasper.
And the core, you send them the core,
Yes. Yep.
and then they subtract the amount from the cost of it.
There's a lot of core charges on this engine.
Yeah.
All the injectors and everything else. 200, I don't know if you looked at that list. There's
Yeah.
quite a few of them.
And it makes sense that Wally's doing it.
Yes.
He's an excellent mechanic. For Craig to do that job, it would take Craig, and nothing against
Yeah,
Craig.
they don't have the time in
They
there.
don't have the time to do it with all the other vehicles they have to maintain, so. So that's fine. Any questions, comments about this item?
Nope.
I know the board wants me to move this along a little bit, so, okay, Jim, that's fine. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay. And then, John, while you have me here, do you want to mention anything, or you want to wait for Rich to come?
You're okay with
You don't want to mention anything?
No, what I do want to ask is, we're going to have executive session carryover from earlier. If you could just stay for like 10 minutes for executive session, would be great. Sorry that you have to stay for the rest of this. That's why I'm trying to move Kenny along.
10 minutes. That's
Ten-
all we're
t-
gonna-
Truly 10 minutes on a rec contract, so it's valid exec. And then also, to your point, Saturday at 10 o'clock, Airport Park, groundbreaking ceremony because work has started on the airport park. So,
Yeah, if the public sees activity going on up at the airport
10
park,
o'clock Saturday.
because the work has started, phase one work has begun, so there is activity out there. You're gonna see construction equipment out there, personnel out there working. So this is towards the build-out, first phase of the build-out of the airport park
Yeah,
fields.
the park should be cleared of trees, hopefully by the end of Friday. And then they'll get into,
Not all the trees.
no, not all of them, no. And then we'll get
Start
into
with it.
earth moving on the 26th of
I said that.
November.
I told her before we're gonna put that on. Thanks, Jim.
I'll talk to you about that.
Okay,
Thanks, Jim.
You got it, okay.
thank you, Jim. All right, so next is Mary Ann Maxwell, the town controller.
Take your time, Mary Ann.
Mary Ann is here for 3, 4, and 5.
Promise.
So the first item for the control is consider budget revisions September and October 2018. Mary Ann?
Okay, these are to consider budget revisions for September and October 2018. Number one, in the general fund, we're providing for police overtime expense from 207C revenue received of $61,000. Number two, we're providing for a payout of accrued and donated time in the police department per authorizing resolution. That amount is $43,532. Number three, we're providing for police equipment purchase from seized assets. That's $500. Number four, we're providing for youth self-sustaining programs, an increase in that expense line of $15,000. The offset is the increase in the revenue that we've received in that, in the recreation department. Number five, we're transferring for salary adjustments per authorizing resolutions. One in the Justice Court of $1,250. One in the supervisor staff personnel that was earlier this year of $2,715, and the assessor's staff personnel of $8,277. Number 7, we're transferring for legal services, $1,500 in bond legal services, $8,500 in certiorari legal services, and $5,000 in legal miscellaneous expense. That transfer is coming from the litigation legal service expense line. Number 8, we're transferring for miscellaneous expenses also in the general fund. Record storage expense of $1,000, building contractual expenses of $8,000, and central advertising expense of $2,000. Number 9, we're transferring for the taxes on the town property of $21,731. That's coming from the contingent line. Number 10, we're transferring for police night differential and community overtime expense. A total of $10,000 is being transferred, $5,000 into each of those lines. Number 11, we're transferring $15,000 into the police motor vehicle fuel line, and that's coming from the police insurance coverage line. On page 2, number 15, we're transferring $21,000 in miscellaneous recreation staff expenses. $4,000 is going to the staff admin overtime line. $4,000 is going to the temporary staff line. $6,000 is going to the temporary staff line in the park maintenance line. And $7,000 is going to a retiree health insurance to cover that line. Those transfers are coming from other recreation lines. Number 16, we're transferring $16,500 for the repair of the recreation dump truck that Jim spoke about. Originally, I think the cost was higher, so that we had put this budget revision together, so I think the expense came in lower than the $16,500, but we did that transfer anyway. We just have that coverage in that line. Number 17, we're transferring for recycling temporary staff and health insurance cost of $14,300. Number 18 and number 19. 18, we're transferring $16,000 from the general fund into the highway fund to cover the cost of a new employee in the highway fund. That employee is in the weeds and brush staff expense line. So we have to transfer the money from the general fund to the highway fund because the excess is in the general fund. So that's 18 and 19. I'm sorry, got really loud. Number 20, we're providing for a guardrail purchase and installation from an insurance claim of $6,077. Number 21, in the highway fund, we're transferring for a general repair labor overtime and contractual expenses. $2,000 in the overtime and $20,000 in contractual general repair expenses. Number 22, we're transferring for machinery repair expenses of $40,000. That's also coming from the highway fund. In Carmel Fire Protection District number 2, we're transferring $5,000 for workers' comp insurance. In the Lake Secor Park District, we're transferring $2,300 for Lake Secor expenses. On page 3, we're transferring and providing for the purchase and installation of an air compressor. This is actually number 8 on tonight's agenda. This affects Water Districts 1, 8, 10, and 13. Water District 1 has the funding available. Water Districts 8, 10, and 13, we do have to do some transfers in order to make that purchase available, the money available for that purchase. I think Rich will speak about that later. Carmel Water District number 2, we're transferring $25,000 for emergency repairs. Carmel Water District number 10, we're transferring a total of $18,000 for miscellaneous repairs, equipment, and emergency expenses. In Carmel Water District number 12, we're transferring a total of $14,000 for emergency repairs. Carmel Sewer District number 2, which is number 30 on page 3, we're transferring $30,000 for microfiltration chemical expenses. And page 4, in the general debt fund and the highway debt fund, we're providing for a ban principal payment. We paid down a ban this year in our October ban sale, $50,000 in the general fund and $42,000 in the highway fund. In Carmel Sewer District number 7, we also paid down a ban of $38.72. Those are coming from the fund balances in those districts, or in those funds. In the airport park, we're providing for project capital improvements from the approved borrowing. As Councilman Lupinacci mentioned, this project is beginning, so we're transferring $500,000 right now into the contractual improvement expense line. If we need to transfer more before the end of the year, we will do that, but I just transferred the $500,000 for now. The full bond authorization is $2.2 million for that project. In the general fund transfer to capital, number 36 and number 37, we're transferring $29,151 into the Park Community Capital Project, which is the Sycamore Park project. We're transferring $29,151 from the Parkland Trust Fund, okay? And that's going, I'm sorry, that's not the Parkland Trust. That's coming from the Park Capital Improvement line, which is in the general fund. The $45,000 is getting transferred from various lines in the recreation budget that Jim had given us those lines to make that transfer. So both of those transfers are going into the 915 fund, which is the Park Capital Improvement Fund, which will help fund the Sycamore Park tennis court and basketball court improvements. The other funding is coming from grants. Number 40, we're providing for paving expense from revenue received. This $300,000 was revenue that we received from Central Hudson. And the last one is Carmel Water District number 9. We're providing for capital improvements in that district of $349,500 to begin that project. And that's it.
So, Mary Ann, just a question on the Central Hudson $300,000 reimbursement.
Yes.
Where is that being kept?
That's in the capital fund, the resurfacing capital fund.
Okay.
Stacy and I are tracking that separately, you know, because usually that's where the bond money goes, but we're tracking, we put it into a separate line so that we can, you know, track
Got it.
the revenue that comes in and make sure that that's going to the, you know, the projects that it's supposed to go to.
All right, because
So-
that was earmarked, that's earmarked for paving.
For
of
certain,
Western Pomeroy
exactly, yeah, so,
and Boulevard.
so we just have a separate accounting for that
And
that
would be just
paving
carried
expense.
over
Yes,
Into 19?
yes,
Okay.
exactly,
So
yep,
it'll be there when Mike needs it, it'll be there for
yes,
those? Okay.
yes, yep, yep.
Mary Ann, on your next one, in executive session, is a consensus of the board to put that off another week. We want to review these fees again,
Okay, the user fee schedule, okay,
the user fees.
okay, that's fine.
Yeah, we can adopt it on the 20th and then adopt the budget. Same. Oh, correct, yes.
And we'll put that on for Tuesday, too. Ken.
Yep.
Okay, so we're,
I'll make my kid so much she can do it.
next week is
Mark it up
next
and
week
send
is a
you a
voting
copy.
meeting though, right? We'll-
That's what I think.
Just voted.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Mary Ann.
Bye.
so we're not
Um,
gonna, so we're not gonna discuss this then now, we'll just,
User
we'll
fees?
hold off on it.
Yeah.
Okay,
You wanted
Okay.
to,
You're going to be invited next week to
or do you want to do that
executive session.
offline?
okay.
Does the
Discuss the user
program,
fees.
does the,
Mary Ann should be there.
what's that?
Yeah.
Huh? No, I would ask her now. I would ask her now. If the programs cover the cost.
Over here. Mary Ann, number 15, and maybe Jimmy could answer it as well, the recreation staff overtime for the month. I'm assuming that the programs cover that cost of the overtime?
The recreation, the $4,000, is that what you're?
Correct.
That recreation admin staff overtime, yes, I mean, the programs do cover, you know, that overtime. But that's mostly for the staff, for the office staff, right?
That was- That's what I thought, the kayaking. Right, but I just want to make sure that the monies that we're collecting
Go.
are going towards this overtime.
They're self-sustaining, right?
They go into self-sustaining, yeah, that's actually number 4.
I guess what I'm trying to say is like, we're not losing money on having these classes.
No,
No, the revenue is
that's-
actually up.
Perfect, that's
Yes.
all.
Yeah, the revenue on these classes is up, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, definitely.
Because I know they all love the kayaking classes
Yeah.
and stuff, and the boarding.
And then, and the other thing, in the past, most of the staff used to accumulate comp time.
Yep.
And now the trend seems to be going more than like get paid for the time.
Yeah, they,
For Harvest Fest.
All right.
yeah, that, I have no problem with that.
Yeah,
We budgeted all the way to the end of the year with breakfast.
Yep, correct.
exactly, yeah.
They-
Yeah, we-
That's good.
Yeah, we projected out, that $4,000, we may not need that, but we we projected out to, cover the end of through the end of the year.
All right, perfect.
For that.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
the recreation, Jimmy, they're doing such a great job with all the programs, they really are. And the place looks nice over there.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Mary Ann,
5.
5, consider request to accept proposal for the renewal of the agreement with Capital Market Advisors.
Yes, Capital Market Advisors has been our, they basically provide services with bond and note financing. Capital Markets has been with the town probably at least for 15 to 20 years. The compensation for this, for new money bond issues, they're basically keeping the price the same in 2019, and after 2019 would be an increase of the rate of inflation. So I'm very comfortable with the services that they provide. They prepare our official statements, they meet with Moody's, and myself and the supervisor have met with Moody's, and they join in on the
You have to work with them, and if you're happy with them,
yes, yeah, no, they're great. So this contract is 2019 through 2023, so I recommend that the board approve the contract for another 5 years.
thanks, Mary Ann.
I know Kenny.
That's
I know-
Beth, right,
Yes,
Mary?
I know Kenny has worked with Capital Markets as well.
For years,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
they're very
Provide
reputable.
excellent services, yeah. Yep.
They do.
They've always been there for us, and, they're keeping
Yep.
the rates the same in 2019, the rate of inflation going forward, so,
Okay.
Thanks, Mary Ann.
All right, Mary Ann, thank you.
thank you.
So next
Okay.
week, Tuesday,
Yes.
All right, next up, Rich Franzetti, Town Engineer. Rich is here for 5 work session items. First one is consider request to purchase and replace UV disinfection bulbs at microfiltration plants 2, 4, and 7. Rich?
Thank you. Just get in order here, I apologize. So Infomark, the operators of Carmel Sewer Districts 2, 4, and 7, advise the engineering department that ultraviolet disinfection bulbs at the microfiltration plants for these facilities are beyond the serviceable lifespan, and they must be replaced in order to maintain appropriate disinfection standards. These projects were completed as part of the regulatory upgrade and were financed through New York State EFC and by New York City, and they use a combination, facilities use a combo of microfiltration and UV bulbs.
something.
While there is a market for various manufacturers of bulbs, based on their research, Trojan bulbs can be expected to provide a longer surface than any aftermarket bulbs, and they provided studies as such, and we consider this particular manufacturer's bulb to be a sole source. We received attached quotes from Fleet Pump and Service, and they are as follows: for Carmel Sewer District 2, bulbs and ancillary equipment, labor from Infomark, $37,152. For Sewer 4, bulbs and labor, $7,972. And for Carmel Sewer District 7, bulbs and labor, $9,002. It should be noted that the New York City DEP does reimburse us 50% on this because it is part of microfiltration. So the cost of $37,152 really goes to $18,576 for Sewer 2, $39,71 for 4, and $45,01 for Sewer District 7. There are sufficient funds available in Sewer Districts 2 and 7 to cover full cost. Sewer District 4 will need to do a budget revision to transfer money into the account. And as I mentioned, 50% of this total bill is paid by New York City DEP under the terms of the operating between the municipalities and the city. That's all I have, sorry.
Any questions, comments on UV bulbs?
Nope.
No? Okay, next, Rich,
Has to be done.
7, Rich, consider request to authorize change order number 2 for contract 246, Carmel Water District 2, and there's no charge to that. Rich?
So the reference project was awarded to Legacy Contract, which is the Carmel Water District 2 work, C-246. Contracts were signed and notice to proceed were issued in February of this year. As you know, the 301 section, the project was intended to be executed last. Permits from New York City DEP and the New York State DOT were required. The New York City DEP permit was offered at the end of August, and the New York State DOT permit was issued at the end of October. The New York City DEP permit required the relocation of the main from the south side of 301 to the north side, necessitating trenchless crossing across 301 under the New York State DOT permit. The contractor has documented these delays and seeks the town approval for the execution of this phase of work. The contractor requests for reallocation of bid cost along with the estimate of remaining bid items to be used in the execution of this work. As stated in the contractor's request letter, the cost reallocation represents a no-cost change order to the project. In addition, due to permitting delays, it is recommended that the date for substantial completion be changed to May 10th, 2019. Delay was not caused by the contractor. It was caused because we had to wait for these permits. And in order to ensure appropriate time for the contractor to complete the work, we recommend that the board authorize the no-cost work change order. Number 2, I apologize, there's a typo in there. You may not have the one with the typo, I apologize. Attached, please, there is a no-cost change order for this work. So,
Okay. It's a no-cost change order, so I have no problem with that, with authorizing this. Board members, questions, comments, concerns on this one? No?
No.
Okay, we're good. All right, Rich, 9, consider request to accept proposal for as-built survey, Long Pond Road Improvement District.
now we're on number 8.
I'm sorry, we're on 8. I'm going ahead. Authorized purchase and replace air compressor, Carmel Water District number 8.
So B&J, the operators of Carmel Water District 8, has alerted the engineering department that the air compressor, which provides compressed air necessary as required for treatment of the raw water, needs to be replaced. Carmel Water 8, just for background, Carmel Water District 8 was commissioned for operation in '97, and the plant provides water for districts 1, 8, 10, and 13. Plant treatment is a PureAct dissolved air flotation system consisting of 2 large filter tanks. The current compressor was installed in 1997. Due to the age and increased difficulty in finding spare parts and service to maintain the equipment, the system needs to be replaced and upgraded. We've inspected the compressor and agree with the operator's assessment. The department requested a price proposal for this work from the operator, and B&J reached out to 3 vendors and received the only response from MagPro Services. The cost for the air compressor upgrade is $18,550. This particular work is unique and requiring a significant amount of professional expertise and coordination, and we would like to proceed with authorizing this work as professional service and direct B&J to proceed based on this written proposal. Since the water plant services 1, 8, 10, and 13, the cost allocation would go to each of these districts. Where Carmel District 1 would be 9.2% at $1,707.06. Carmel Water District 8 at 58.5% at $10,854.68. Carmel Water 10 at 19.5%, $3,618.23. And Carmel Water 13, 12.8 at $2,375.04. There are sufficient funds in the budget for this purchase to be allocated between these districts. However, budget transfers from the over-reserved fund balance in Carmel Water District 10 is required to cover the portion of this district's expense.
Okay, Rich, and I just want to add that MagPro is the low bidder on this, or the sole bidder on this. They're a very reputable company. They're a professional organization, and they're right here in Carmel.
And I saw Joey drag me out there to see this compressor. It's old.
It's old, yeah.
It's old. And that place is immaculate. The place is just, the water treatment plant is,
21 years old.
it looks brand new.
Yeah,
It's really remarkable that it's 21 years old.
yeah, yeah.
This machine looks like it's 21 years old.
And Mike mentioned how loud it was when it went on.
All right.
Rich, just 2 questions. With this new compressor that we're going to get, is there a warranty on it? Because I don't see that listed here at all.
No.
But
I have to get that information. I apologize for not providing it. I will
yeah,
have
if you can
that.
get the warranty, and also, just let us know what the life expectancy is, because I think you guys are keeping track, right, when we're buying large things, and then we can plan for the future, like if there's a 20-year life expectancy in 15 years, we know to start saving money for a new one.
We have been doing that, yes.
Okay.
And more so with the asset management, certainly in those
That's
districts
what I meant,
we're
like
on
the
it.
asset
But-
management, those would be part of it, right? Okay, yep, so just look at the warranty for me, the life expectancy, please.
You got it, and I'll get
Thank
back to
you.
the board with that.
Okay, thank you, Rich. Okay, now we can go to number 9. Consider request to accept proposal for as-built survey Long Pond Road Improvement District.
So the engineering department received the attached proposal from Larry Lynn for as-built survey work as part of the reference project, which is C-38 Long Pond Road as-built survey. Excuse me. The school is calling.
Oh.
Larry Lynn is the surveyor used for the initial survey work used for this design portion of the project. The proposal submitted is to develop an as-built survey and to define the right-of-way. The information is required by legal counsel to finalize the road improvement district. Please be advised that once this information is collected and reviewed, there will be instances where the road encroaches on private properties, and these property encroachment will warrant additional survey information to be collected to further identify the metes and bounds of the encroachments of property. Once those meet and bounds are determined, the town will advise property owners that they will either voluntarily convey the property interest in fee simple, absolute to the Long Pond Road Improvement District, or the town will have to undertake eminent domain proceedings. Cost of the survey is $19,500. Previously noted, this survey has previously performed the work as part of this project. This department considers this a professional service and recommends that the proposal be awarded to Larry Lynn. We've discussed the matter with the controller and advises there are sufficient funds existing to complete this work. And that would be part of the whole Long Pond Road Improvement District.
Was that 19.5 in the original estimate for that road?
Mike, I don't know that off the top of my head, that there was a percentage of that
There
was
had to be
part of it,
somewhere, right?
yeah. So that was in there. So it was included as part of, yeah, this is not additional. This was part of the original, that bond that went out.
That's what I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's it.
Original estimate survey. No recollection.
You were to close out that, right? Okay, any questions, comments on this item?
No.
Okay, number 10, consider request to authorize payment for intake line zebra mussel inspection, Carmel Water Districts 1, 8, 10, and 13. Rich?
Unfortunately, this will be an ongoing, expense incurred by these water districts because of the zebra mussels that exist in Lake Mahopac. So on October 23rd, B&J, the operators of Carmel Water Districts 1, 8, 10, and 13, the water treatment plant, had the intake line for the water treatment plant inspected and jetted to clean zebra mussels. The work is part of a yearly inspection and maintenance program regarding the zebra mussels in Lake Mahopac, which are causing an obstruction in the intake line. Videos of the investigation have been provided to the engineering department by B&J. The underwater divers inspected the intake and determined that there were zebra mussels on top adhering to the intake screen. The screen was cleaned and replaced, and the intake line did contain zebra mussels and silt, and that was jetted out. So the memorandum is being presented to the board to request payment for the attached repairs. The invoices are over the town of Carmel's procurement policy threshold, and you will find an invoice in the amount of $10,785 for the work performed by Seaway Diving and Salvage at $4,598, Cook Jetting, $3,860, and B&J for $2,300. Cost of the work was included in the 1, 8, 10, and 13 budgets, and there are sufficient funds to complete this work. And we recommend that this be paid.
Okay. Rich?
Unfortunately, we have to recommend it gets paid because there are zebra mussels in there.
The zebra mussels are still there,
I was,
and they'll be there again next year.
I was there, I was out there the day that they did this. I stayed on the surface. I didn't go underwater to see the intakes, but I saw the zebra mussels as they brought them out. It's bad. So I agree. This is ongoing. We're gonna have to continue to do it until somebody comes up with a method to eradicate the zebra mussels in Lake Mahopac.
Now, it's too late now, we're stopping the day dropping of transient boats.
Yeah, that's what created it, right?
Rich, I do have a
Oh,
question
sorry, go
for you
ahead.
on this.
I'm not sure if it was a discussion I had with you previously or someone else who was in the field. For long-term treatment of zebra mussels, I think they were talking about something in regards to maybe ultraviolet light treatments at intakes that were for certain lengths of the pipe in order to kill off any growth that would continue through the pipe of intake. I'm not sure if you have any background on that.
I haven't done much background on it. There's not much that can be done, unfortunately, with the intake pipes. And one thing that they talked about was electrifying the pipe so that there's an electronic pulse that goes through, and that shakes them off. The problem is it will just bring them further up into the system.
Right.
And so, Mike, I know you're in touch with Joe. You know, last year, the zebra mussels got pretty far up. They didn't get to the plant. They got further up into the system, and they hit the valve. They have a valve right near their building. They got into there, and they had to take that valve apart and clean it. This year, it didn't get there. 2 years ago, it didn't get there.
They were a little better this year.
Yeah, there's not much out there. I've been in contact with the folks at DEP, because obviously this is a concern for everybody, right? The DEP mostly, Lake Mahopac ultimately feeds into the Amawalk, and therefore the Amawalk feeds into the rest of that area of the Croton Reservoir, Hillview, goes all the way down. So they know it's coming, but they don't even know how to control it 100% effectively. So.
Scary. All right, well, thank you for keeping on top of it, and just cost of doing business every year, we have to expect it.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thanks, Rich.
No problem.
Okay, so the next two items, 11 and 12, they're both to consider request to add part-time services status to full-time status. The 11 is from Michael Martin, who had worked for us part-time hourly, who has now been assigned or appointed Deputy Highway Superintendent. So he's full-time with the Highway Department, but he'd like his part-time service credit hours added to his total amount of days that are credited for his pension purposes, for retirement purposes. So per the attached, I'm requesting my part-time service status be combined with full-time service in regard to retirement, vacation, and longevity purposes. My part-time hours worked total 1,875.04 hours. Using an 8-hour workday calculation, this converts to 234 days. Based on this information, my anniversary date would be December 12th, 2017. We've done this in the past with other part-time workers that converted over to full-time, and we credited them with their part-time service to the town. So this is something that we've done in the past. I recommend that we do approve this for Mike Martin. Is there any questions, comments, concerns for Mike Martin's request?
No.
For part-time status? All right, the next one is also a part-time worker. This is Chris Paleo, who worked for us part-time in the assessor's office as a real property appraiser. He has since been made full-time permanent in that office, and he is requesting that his days, his hours be converted to allow those hours, while he was here as a part-time worker, to be added to his time bank for retirement purposes and pension purposes down the road. So we've calculated his hours, and we've agreed to, Mary Ann, what was the number that we came out, I'm sorry, with Chris? The total, if you could just comment on that?
His original start, full-time status date was November 27th. So we calculate his part-time hours that he worked as 3,631 hours, 0.63 hours. So we divide that by 8, an 8-hour day, and come up with 454 days. So we go back from his original start date, go back 454 days to come up with the March 1st start date. So that will be his new anniversary date,
March 1st.
March 1st,
All right,
2016.
and is that 219 days?
It's 454 days in total,
Okay,
in 16 and 17.
okay.
Yeah, 2016 and 17. So March 1st, 2016 will be his new anniversary date.
Okay. Okay. All right, great. Thanks, Mary Ann. All right, is there any questions, comments, concerns for these two requests? Okay, there being none, that concludes the agenda items for this evening's Town Board work session. There was 12 items that we covered tonight. I'm going to open up the floor at this point to public comment on the agenda items that we discussed tonight. If you have any questions, Comments you'd like to make, come on up at this time. Agenda items only right now. Agenda items.
Hi, Jean Hopper, Mayapack. I think it's an agenda item, was the trees at Airport Park. Susie, you said, trees? I'm right behind you. Are we going to take really good care about what trees are coming down in that area when they start work? It's next week, or?
Well, actually, they started, I think they started today, Jim? Yeah, they started today.
Yeah, we walked
So I'm
it.
assuming that you've marked off trees that you're going to save. I mean, I'm not
Yes.
sure exactly where this work is done. I haven't viewed the site, but
Yeah, we walked it was it last Sunday? No, it was 2 weeks ago. Saturday? I don't know, one day during the weekend.
and are trees marked off that they're going to
We
save?
we walked it, and there were certain trees that we could save,
Right.
that weren't too big or too little, and that wasn't just one-sided. It was difficult to find
Just
some,
wooded
but
stuff,
we
yeah.
did find some, yes.
Okay, I just wanted to make mention
Susie
of that.
put
That's
ribbons
it.
on, you put ribbons on some
We
of them,
didn't put
too?
ribbons, but we did mark them, and we took pictures. Yeah, there's different varieties that we found also. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, only because you had mentioned, people like to walk the parks as well, and I think it's a really important thing that we don't want to just
Right, yeah,
raise
and-
all the trees to
Yeah,
the
and
ground.
just so people know, there are going to be a lot of trees coming down, but we are very, very committed to keeping, we can't obviously keep all the paths that are there now, but we are going to
So someone's aware of it.
make paths and
Right.
everything like that.
I think that's just
It's
what people want to
not
be
going
reassured that you're aware of it.
Yeah, like all of the trees that are being cut, we are wood chipping them, and we're going to save those for the paths that we're going to be
Right, well, that's
using.
standard stuff, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Just as long as someone's aware of
Yes.
those trees and really
Yep.
taking that to heart.
Yeah,
Okay,
we did.
that's it.
There's
Thanks.
certain species trees that we're going to keep.
Yeah.
Thanks, Gene.
I don't want to belabor this, but where the trees are coming down, there's going to be a lot of fill. So it's going to be clear cut, and species or a couple trees that you want to save, we're going to try to transplant. Again,
Yes.
transplanting is not always successful, but there's going to be an attempt, because when you go there, it's going to be clear, because they're pulling from
Yeah.
the high to the low, and all the trees are in the low. So, I mean, it's very. Huh?
Yep,
Clear fields.
yeah.
Okay, great. Anyone else here for agenda items at this time? Okay, there being none, we're going to move on to the open forum, new business portion of the meeting. So if there's anyone here for new business, come on up at this time.
Good evening, Town Board. Sorry about going back and forth, trying to get before the planning board at the same time. Got some members over here from the community on Croton Falls Road where the cell tower is being proposed by Homeland Towers, and we just wanted to ask the Town Board, I want to say a couple things. First, I'm sure you all read in the paper what's going on. Nobody in the community is against cell towers. We all know cell towers are needed. There's dead spots in the town. What we are against is cell towers going in the residential communities. I'm not going to get into issues that should be discussed before the planning board, because that would be inappropriate. We know you're not the governing body, and you're not going to make the decision on this, that the planning board will. But the role that this board can play is the role, just like you played up in Dixon Road, with dealing with Homeland Security, Homeland Towers, and having conversation with them and trying to encourage them to find other locations that are not going to be disturbing residential communities. Commend you guys for your involvement over there. I heard there, I guess they may be pulling that application up there temporarily because there may be a relocation of that tower. I'm sure the residents in Dixon Road will be very happy about that. Now over to Croton Falls, where you're going to put the tower over there, I have probably the person immediately behind the house over there is here. And I just want to notify you, we have some concerns about the shot clock, which we'll talk to the planning board about. And we also just want to reiterate to you that we appreciate your involvement. We appreciate what you're doing. I know there's some dialogue going back and forth, and hopefully you somehow can convince Homeland Towers to relocate that tower. Now, I spoke to one of the guys from Homeland Towers, Ray, I forget his last name. I wrote it down. He told me to call him. I spoke to him for 40 minutes. And he did propose like another, he said he had an idea for another spot. When he said it to me, it was another residential community. So my response to him was, I'm not selling out my beliefs. I said, it would make me happy and the people immediately around it, but it would be unfair to another residential community. So we're not asking you to move it from our residential community to another residential community. We're asking you to convince them to try to follow the town law that you guys enacted, especially with the co-locating in the town law. There's the 6 steps, and you guys wrote it. They're going from 1 to 5, as you're well aware, and I think they bypassed 1 to 4. And that's not before you. That'll be before the planning board. But you got the ability to negotiate, talk, and maybe convince them to do this. We elected you guys to serve us in the community, and we're asking you to step up and see what you can do about getting this cell tower moved to either a commercial, industrial town or some other property where it's not in a residential community. Okay? Just want to say thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Bob.
Bob. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come up on new business, open forum, that they'd like to address the board on? Taxpayer, property owner, business owner in the community? Come on up. Okay. All right, there being none, I just have one announcement that I was asked to make today. The Town of Carmel Town Board meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 20th, 2018 at 7 p.m. So next week, we're meeting on Tuesday, the 20th, and not Wednesday, the 21st, because Wednesday, the 21st is Thanksgiving Eve, and we're not going to meet on Thanksgiving Eve. So we'll be here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. for a town board voting meeting, and it's expected that we're going to adopt the budget. We have to adopt the budget by November 20th, so that'll be next Tuesday. The Carmel Town Hall offices will be closed Thursday and Friday, November 22nd and 23rd for Thanksgiving, and offices will reopen on Monday, November 26th, 2018 at 8:30 a.m. That's all I have.
Yeah, Kenny, just one thing. Prior to coming to the meeting, I was up at the Putnam County Courthouse, and they had the youth court graduation. And again, it was a wonderful ceremony. A lot of students were there, and I just want to congratulate them. I congratulated them all from the town board, but it's a really, really great program up there that they do. So I just wanted to mention that and to congratulate all of the students.
Yeah, thanks for attending, Sue.
Yeah.
Representing the town. I couldn't make it, so
Yep.
thank you for being there. It's part of your deputy supervisor duties.
I know.
Great
year
job,
after
Sue.
year.
Yep.
Got it.
All right. Is there any other board members? Jonathan, you have anything?
Snow coming.
Snow is coming tomorrow, yeah, I guess, tomorrow
No,
evening.
no.
So,
I'm not
Mike,
ready.
John, you have anything?
No, outside of
Okay.
executive
All right,
session
we-
for half an hour.
Yeah, we do have executive session that I need a motion to go into. So moved by Councilwoman McDonough, seconded by Councilman Lupinacci. All those in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone. Be well. Yep, we'll see you next Tuesday, the 20th, at 7 p.m. for Town Board voting meeting. Good night, be well.